for him. God help me. 8 a.m. rolls around. His coworkers clock in. They open up that refrigerator cart, and the man's dead. He hypothermia. He froze to death. What was interesting about the story, though, is that the temperature apparatus that this man was looking at had been malfunctioning for days, and it never got below 55 degrees Fahrenheit. His thoughts created death, Casey. And if our thoughts could do that, do you think our thoughts could actually heal the body as well? The answer is yes, it can. So before I continue, I want to hear your thoughts on that story.
It's just so wild. It's just like full body chills to hear that. And yeah, I could absolutely see it happening. If you are thinking that is happening to you and it is out of your control, yeah, I can see it happening. It's a wild story, though.
Absolutely wild, man. Absolutely. But that's called the nocebo effect, where your mind works against you. Then we also have the placebo effect. Everybody has heard of the placebo effect. There's a lot of power to the placebo effect. But in chapter 10, I talk about the origin of the placebo effect, which was in World War II. German bombardment on the U.S. military. There was an anesthesiologist, Dr. Henry Beecher, working in a medical tent for the U.S. military. And all these soldiers were coming into that tent with extreme wounds, bullet wounds, legs blown off, fingers and arms. It was a gruesome scene. So what this Dr. Beecher was doing for the soldiers is he was administering morphine to stabilize the patient so they could transfer them to the hospital, perform surgery, and save their life, which that's how it works. But what ended up happening is they ran out of morphine. And the nurse on staff noticed that the morphine was tapped out. She was panicking. She didn't know what to do. So she grabbed saline solution, salt water, put that inside of the needles, gave it to Dr. Beecher. He had the belief he had morphine. So he would tell the soldier, I'm giving you morphine. In a matter of seconds, you're going to stabilize. We're going to save your life. And he would inject them with salt water. And most of them survived with salt water, thinking they were getting morphine, right? Incredible. So the war ended, and then Harvard studied what happened in this medical tent, and that's where the placebo effect started. That's where it originated in terms of the studying of it, because it's always been around. So that's incredible. It just shows you how powerful your thoughts are. And we have 60,000 thoughts every single day. And Dr. Bruce Lipton has proven, he's a world-renowned cell biologist, he has proven that your thoughts are a frequency that have the ability to communicate with your DNA nucleus. Meaning, if it's a angry thought, a bitter thought, a hateful thought, a resentful thought, the signal sent to your DNA nucleus produces inflammatory proteins, which shortens your telomeres, which damages your DNA and shortens your lifespan with a single thought. But if that thought is loving, grateful, abundant, happy, same signal sent to the DNA, but now it's an anti-inflammatory protein, protecting your telomeres, protecting your DNA, extending your lifespan. So if we have 60,000 thoughts a day, which we do, we have 60,000 opportunities every day to put the body in a healing, anti-inflammatory state. That is the greatest health biohack you will ever learn. So when you start to really focus on this and be intentional and become aware of those thoughts, you have the ability to transform your health, your relationships, and everything. And I go much deeper in the book, but it's the best chapter. It's just something that I think a lot of people miss in the health space.
It's really good. And in the book, which people should get to figure this out, but like you're very tactical and practical about it, like actually writing things down, having cards that you look at and see and repeating things. And, it can sound a little bit woo-woo, but at the end of the day, like you're right, like those things add up and start to contribute into your own belief that you can be great, you can accomplish something, you can lose the weight, you can be metabolically healthy. So I just think it's so important. I'm really glad you included all of that in there.
Yeah, thank you. And you're right. Some people could read that part because I talk about the concept of self-image and how you view yourself. You cannot outperform the way you view yourself, which is your self-image, and how you change that is you write an affirmation of the new version of yourself. And some people might read that and say, oh, why are you putting this in like a book that has 274 citations? This sounds woo-woo. It's not. Any psychiatrist or psychologist that read the book and read that part of the book, they understand that's exactly how the mind works. The subconscious mind is totally deductive, meaning it accepts everything. So if you imprint a new idea by writing it down, and I do this with all my goals, I'm showing you my goal. I have several goal cards that I read all day, and I give you an actual affirmation in the book. When you continuously imprint that into your subconscious mind, you remove the old conditioning, and you replace it with a new idea, which changes your behavior, changes your health. It prevents you from sabotaging yourself. So I encourage people to do it. It's part of the 30-day plan. You do it for 30 days and you will replace that old image, which is usually a bad image of yourself, with a new reborn image where you are just unstoppable.
I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I'm going to ask this question on behalf of several of my clients. And when I get the question myself, I feel about as helpless as ever when I'm trying to answer this question. Is like these people that we work with, they're very highly motivated. They understand the problem. They're bought in. They want to do this. And they are in relationships where both parents work. They have kids who, several young kids. They all have school and issues themselves. There's so much stress out there, and people always ask me, like, what do I do when I'm really stressed out? And I say to them, like, I can give you answers, but those answers, you're not going to like to hear those answers when you're right in the middle of stress. Like, you don't want to hear me say, like, oh, you should go for a little walk. Like, you can't even handle your 1.5-year-old right now. Like, you're not going to go on a walk. You should, sit down and breathe and count your breaths and all this stuff. And it's like, that's the last thing they're going to want to do. And then they end up doing something that sabotages themselves and sets them back, and they get upset at themselves. And it's a cycle of like trying to remotivate. And what do you tell to somebody when they're asking you that type of question? Like, I really want to do this, but like something will set off my entire day, and then I'll have a snack, and that sets off the, blood sugar up and down. How do you help people understand that even in stressful situations, they can still get on top of things?
I would say that, stress is not the problem here. It's your reaction to the stress. You're reacting to the stress instead of responding to the stress. Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, who was in a Jewish concentration camp, said in his book, between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space lies your power. Right? So you're going to get stimulus through stress, whether it's family, TV, social media. And if you're constantly reacting, you just lose your power because you're not using that space to respond. It's not the stress. It's not the circumstances that the person's blaming it on. It's their inability to respond to it. They're reacting to it. And the sabotage piece is different, a little bit different than the piece here on the stress. And people don't like to hear this answer because it forces them to take responsibility. The truth is this: nobody can make you feel any certain way. You are giving them permission to offend you. You're giving them permission to stress you out. It's you who have the power. Bob Proctor used to say, "You are the only problem you'll ever have, and you're the only solution." Right? So that's great news, because the person you need to have a consultation with is always around. It's you. And I remember Bob Proctor, and I'm not mitigating your problems. I'm not trying to be. I'm empathetic to the problems, and I understand people are going through a lot of crazy stuff. But it really relies on your faith. Like, don't take your big problems to God. Take your big God to your problems. Right? The stronger your faith, whether it's God, the universe, the stronger your faith, the more you're going to be able to overcome these opportunities. And they're not even challenges; they're opportunities to get better and stronger. Now, this is different though than why do I keep sabotaging myself? Why you keep sabotaging yourself is because of your self-image. And the book talks about this. I'm not going to go deep into it now, but you have a self-image of yourself. I'll give you the example I gave in the book. In the book, I talk about somebody who's overweight, who has a self-image of an overweight person. Like I did. When I was obese, my self-image was an overweight Ben. You make the conscious decision to hire a coach, maybe a personal trainer, a health coach like Casey, or join a program. You make a conscious decision to change and lose weight. And you start to make some progress. Maybe you lose 5 pounds the first month, but you never worked on the self-image. It's still an obese person or an overweight person that you identify with. You will find a way very soon to course correct. So now the 5 pounds were lost are now found. Sometimes you'll find 7 of them. Right? So you'll find yourself in the pantry eating Oreos. You'll find yourself making an excuse that it's stress causing you to do this because your self-image never changed. So you got to change the self-image. How do you do that? You write down the new image on a piece of paper, on a sticky note, on a goal card like I do, and you just read it every morning, right before bed, throughout the day. Do it for 30 days straight, and you will replace that old image and you will stop sabotaging yourself. I know for some people this sounds too simplistic, almost immature, almost too easy. You're not going to do it. But I'm telling you, you give it 30 days and I give you the exact instructions in this book, you will replace that self-image. You'll become unstoppable. I lived this myself. When I was losing my weight, I even got to the point where I was so extreme. I had six-pack abs, 6% body fat, and I was looking in the mirror and I viewed myself as an obese person. And then I kept finding ways to put the weight back. This is all based off of not just theory, but off of science. There's a book called Psychocybernetics, and it's from Maxwell Maltz from the 1960s. He called it the greatest physiological generation of his lifetime, and it's still the greatest physiological discovery of our lifetime. And he was a plastic surgeon, and he would perform surgery on individuals who had disfigurements on their face, really crazy disfigurements, and he would perform amazing plastic surgery. And he noticed that although they looked perfectly different and normal, their disfigurement was gone. When they looked at themselves in the mirror, they still saw the disfigurement and they felt the same way. They acted the same way. The surgery made no difference because they identified their self-image with that disfigurement. So you got to replace that self-image. And the only way to do that, well, there's two ways: an emotional impact, which is usually negative, a near-death experience, the loss of a loved one, or the better route is constant spaced repetition, and that's the affirmation.
Yeah, that is a very thoughtful answer. Ben, this has been an awesome chat. I know we just did an absolute flyby of the book. There's so much more content that you have inside the book, including a huge section with a lot of amazing looking recipes. So
Yeah.
kudos to doing all that work and putting it all together in the book, which again is absolutely beautiful. I really love it. I love all the time that I get to spend with you, and yeah, just so grateful for you and for doing the work and getting it out there to people to really help people. So it's wonderful, and I love chatting with you. Where would you like people to go to find you and connect with you and your work? And also, you have a free resource that comes with the book for people that pre-order, I believe, as well. Is that correct?
I do, yeah, and I always enjoy chatting with you, Casey. I appreciate you. I love your commitment, man. We gotta hang out soon hopefully at a conference soon, or I'll go to Salt Lake. You could come to Miami, eat some Brazilian food with me and my fiance, or
There we go.
bring yours as well. So the book is Metabolic Freedom. You could actually pre-order it. It's available on hardcover, Kindle, and Audible. I narrated the Audible myself. It's published with Hay House, and Dr. Mindy Pelz wrote the foreword. We are giving away a free bonus if you pre-order today or this week. If you go to metabolicfreedombook.com, you'll see different links to buy the book, and you simply get the book, and then you put your name, email, and order number on that page, and then you're going to be sent automatically right away an entire course for free that I did myself on the metabolism, 12 lessons, along with exclusive interviews only in this course with Dr. Jason Fung, Megan Ramos, Gary Brecka, Dr. Daniel Pompa, and Cynthia Thurlow. So you get those exclusive interviews all about metabolic freedom. So go to metabolicfreedombook.com to get that.
Excellent. We will link that in the notes. Ben, again, it's been such a great chat. I always love learning from you. And like I said, it's just so amazing that you were able to get this done and get this out in the world. I hope you're very, very proud of all of your work. So thank you as always for all the great information and all your hard work. And thanks for taking time to be on our show today. We really appreciate you.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for your support.
Thanks a lot. Really means a lot. And this has been another episode of Boundless Body Radio.